away premium for you as well. After this first game, we'll ask you guys a trivia question. We'll be giving away 3 months of premium. That's about the long and short of what we're looking to do here for the next hour. So hang along with Osip and I as we do break down the top 8, finish off this quarterfinals, and see what's going to make it to tomorrow's competition.
And I'm actually excited to watch this match because, you know, obviously we've seen Flash and Jund all day. It's exciting to see two kind of relatively fringe type decks. I mean, Humanimator, I think, is one of the more popular archetypes, but again, I don't think it's nearly as popular as, say, Jund or Flash.
Yeah.
And again, Marcus Torrez' red-green deck, he can get out to some pretty quick starts, and obviously having a turn 1 Arbor Elf is, you know, the key to that. But he also, because he finished higher in the standing, he gets to be on the play, which is huge because, you know, Scott's key turn is turn 4, so Marcus is going to try to do as much as he can to sort of win the game before Scott even gets to his turn 4.
And you see Scott off to a fantastic start here. He starts with a Blood Crypt untapped to push down to 18, plays a Faithless Looting and discards Umbrella Rights and Angel of Glorious Rise right away. So as far as discards go on the first opening turns of the game, those are 2 very good ones. And Marcus is going to have to get the pressure on almost immediately, but what you see from him is just a Stomping Ground tapped into play and an attack with Arbor Elves. So Scott's at 17, but it could have been a lot worse, all things considered.
You know, he's taken another 2, but the fact is, you know, Marcos really needed to get either a Gyre Sage or a Flinthoof board online on turn 2. He can't do enough damage until by turn 4, and now Scott's able to dump 2 Fiend Hunter in his yard to go along with the Unburial Rights on Angel of Glorious Rise that he's, you know, basically telegraphing on turn 4.
And so he was able to pick up 2 Woodland Cemeteries, as we do see a Huntmaster that falls here from Marcus, searching around for a Wolf token that our spotter will get for him. Marcus is going to move up to 22, but again, the difference between, you know, the Naya Blitz deck or some of the other red-based aggro decks that we do see in the format, this one's a little bit slower. Its stats are a little bit more durable, like a Wolf or Silverheart, but it does not put on a very fast clock, and this is the kind of deck that the Human Reanimator deck really wants to be up against.
Yeah, and Scott can actually, he could have flashbacked to Faithless Looting, but now he just randomly hardcasted, so if he also has a Grizzly Savage or a second Mulch, he can cast that as well. So really good shape right now for him.
Should you see he discards a Huntmaster of the Fells and a Fiend Hunter, making that 3 Fiend Hunters in the graveyard. You're going to see Woodland Cemetery come in, and we are going to see as well a Avacyn's Pilgrim. And Scott is just going to pass the turn back here, so he's setting everything up very, very nicely. Does not have an Undercity Informer or a or a Burning Tree Emissary. Excuse me. Those are the pieces that he's currently missing. But again, this can be a situation where it's just a value on Burial Rights. Get back the Angel of Glorious Rise, snipe off 3 things to those Fiend Hunters, and have a Huntmaster of the Fells come into play and make a Wolf token, and that could be more than enough.
Yeah, honestly, I think this might be one of those games where Scott just says, all right, I'm going to actually just take out your token, maybe your Huntmaster too, and then maybe hide my Angel and just maybe try to dig a little bit more to get more value out of my Angel later on. But you can see there, Scott's already ready for his turn 4. He's chump blocking with his Avacyn Pilgrim because he knows he's going to get it back.
Trades up with the Arbor Elf, takes a little bit more damage, but does get the Arbor Elf off the board. You see another Huntmaster of the Fells and Wolf token here from Marcus, but this is the crucial turn here for Scott. We do know he has another Woodland Cemetery in his hand. He can't exactly combo all the way off this particular turn, but again, a combo may not be necessary when you're bringing that many things back. Did you see Clifftop Retreat? You're going to see Unburial Rights flashback on the Angel of Glorious Rise. Trigger's going to go on the stack. Here come back all the humans, Huntmaster of the Fells, a whole bunch of Fiend Hunters, and that Avacyn's Pilgrim are going to come back from the graveyard. He can snipe off those Wolf tokens. He can take care of those Huntmasters if he chooses to. The world is basically his oyster right now, Osip.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's exactly what he wants to do. He just wants to get rid of as many creatures as Marcus has and hope that his 5/6 can just swing 5 times and kill off Marcus here. And, you know, he's got another Angel in his hand as well. So, and with 5 mana currently in play with the Avacyn Pilgrim, you know, he's 2 turns away from just casting the second one. And he still has 2 Faithless Looting in his yard. So, even if Marcos is able to find some way to deal with this Angel, Scott is still in such a good position right now.
Yeah. And you do see Marcus is just going to pass the turn back. He's going to flip his Hunt Master of the Fells, take care of the other Hunt Master of the Fells. A fun interaction there. The players are familiar with by now. Hunt Master of the Fells been around long enough. But again, Marcus, that's all that he does have. You see his hand of Stomping Ground, Mountain, Forest, and Strangaroo, guys. Not a lot brewing over there. And so Scott is going to take a draw here. He does draw a Grizzly Salvage for the turn.
And he actually has the 4th Fiend Hunter in his hand.
Yeah.
So he can Fiend Hunter the Hunt Master if he wants, or the Ravager of the Fells, and he can actually cast a Grizzly Savage or flashback a Faithless Looting if he wants. So set up a 2nd Angel next turn.
And he's just going to take care of that Hunt Master of the Fells here, clear the road for all the Darks to get through. And it looks like we're probably going to see an attack here with all of his guys. Might hold some back cautiously, just in case something could go wrong with like a Zealot's Conscript or something like that. But I would imagine we're going to see all these guys turn sideways. That is what we are seeing here. It looks like we're getting this attack here for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. Fiend Hunter on defense. We're going to see Scott play a Woodland Cemetery and just pass the turn back, which means that he can cast a Grizzly Salvage on Marcus's end step. Marcus is going to play a Forest here, and he's going to follow up with anything.
I think he might have a Silverheart in his hand, and he also has a String Guy, so he can play Silverheart and threaten to attack with some big guys next turn. But looks like he's just choosing to cast String Guys right now.
Yeah, and you do see his hand of 2 Stomping Grounds and a Forest there. Grizzly Salvage on the end step there by Marcus, going to reveal a Burning Tree Emissary, an Avacyn's Pilgrim, a Sun Petal Grove, a Stomping Ground, and a Mulch. So he'll decide what he wants to take here. But at this point, Scott just wants to get this game over with here. He's very far ahead, doesn't want to lose to any sort of top decking that Marcus could have. Now, of course, both players do have access to each other's deck lists, so I think Scott feels relatively safe here because there isn't really much of anything that Marcus can top deck to be afraid of. There isn't a card like Bonfire the Damned here. You see, as far as spells are concerned, 4 Searing Spears and 3 Domri Rods, and neither of those cards are really going to help him in this situation. Yeah,
Marcus doesn't have a lot of reach right now. His deck is mostly creatures. He only has 7 spells, none of which are really game-breaking, especially in a board state like this. So I think Scott feels pretty comfortable. He could dig a little more to try to set up the combo, or he can just try to just attack him for the win. Either way, I think Marcos is in a pretty bad position right now, short of maybe runner Silverheart, which again is probably just not good enough. Can't deal with the flyer.
You do see Strangaroo Guy's going to get in front of one of these Fiend Hunters here. Undying is going to take place. They're going to resolve all of this combat damage here. It looks like another 10 is going to come across, knocking Marcus down to 4. And we do know that Scott's draw step this turn was a Sun Petal Grove. Not sure if he has anything else in his hand. More Hunt Masters, which he does have 2 left in his deck. And it looks
He's got
like
multiple lootings in his yard, so he can dig for the Undercity Informer to sort of lock this up. But looks like he drew a Grizzly Savage as well.
Yeah, Grizzly Salvage and Unburial Rights in his hand here. He's going to discard an Unburial Rights. He's also going to discard... It looks like he's moving towards that Angel of Glory's Rise right now.
Yeah, I mean, with the Unburial Rights in his yard, might as well just discard the Angel.
And he's going to elect to discard a Clifftop Retreat. We do know he has that Grizzly Salvage in his hand. He is going to play a Sacred Foundry untapped, which is a little bit of a surprise here, moving himself down to 9. Oh, maybe it's just going to be tapped. We'll see what the players decide. So it looks like it is just going to be tapped. Yeah. And Marcus is going to draw his card, and he is going to concede.
Yeah, Marcos's start just wasn't fast enough. I mean, Scott, between Faithless, if Scott's able to go turn 1 Faithless Looting, turn 2 Mulch or Grizzly Savage, the odds of him being able to reanimate a Angel of Glory's Rise in turn 4 is very, very good. So it's going to be really tough for Marcos to actually be able to do anything once that resolves, because even if he doesn't combo kill him, he's going to get a wealth of creatures on the board, probably gain some life, maybe Fiend Hunter some of the opposing creatures. So Marcos really just needs to get a hyper-aggressive draw, and that usually involves either a Gyre Sage or a Burning Tree Emissary. And
we will go over the sideboards for you guys just as soon as we do ask this trivia question, because it is time to give away 3 months of premium. Very simple game. I'll ask you guys a question. It will be horribly difficult. You'll never be able to find the answer. And then for the one person that does find the answer, we ask you to tweet at us with the hashtag of hashtag SCG Premium. We'll select one winner, so it's not a race. We'll select one of the people who does get the answer correct. Again, the question's going to be impossible, so I don't know how you're going to be able to do that. But if you are able, we'll give you 3 months of premium. Yeah,
it's very tough.
Horribly difficult. And the question is, of course, in this Human Reanimator deck, you know, old versions of this deck have had many different combo kills. We've seen Cartel Aristocrat in combination with Fiend Hunter to make infinite wolf tokens with Huntmaster of the Fells. We've seen Nightshade Peddler in combination with Is it Staticaster in the past. And this one has a combo with Burning Tree Emissary and a card that's not really seen anywhere else in the format besides in this deck. And if you're able to name that Black Human, I think that's a pretty good hint, that mills the opponent, then we will give you 3 months of premium. Again, it is a human that doesn't see a lot of play outside of this deck. It's not even very good in its limited format.
And you can't look it up on the internet.
No.
That's one of the
we
rules.
can stop you from doing that.
Yeah.
We know who cheats.
It's the honor code.
Okay, so we'd appreciate if you don't cheat and you just know the name of the human that sacks other humans to mill the opponent until they hit a land. So if you can do that, we'll give you guys 3 months of premium. So a rather easy question for you guys. We'll cut back to the screen for you guys. Take a look at sideboards as you do see the man with the wonderful beard and bow tie on the left, Scott Seligman. Up a game with his Human Reanimator deck. On the right, Marcus down a game with red-green aggro. Does he have any graveyard hate?
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Unfortunately for Marcus, he's one of those players that said, I don't really care about Reanimator decks. I'm just going to try to dodge him. He has 2 Kessek Wolfrun, 2 Gruul Charm, 4 Volcanic Strength, 2 Garruk Relentless, 2 Garruk Primal Hunter, and 3 Thundermaw. Okay, so honestly, he has 0 cards that he probably even wants to bring in this matchup. But, you know, he has 4 Searing Spear, which can break up the combo. And again, I think his game plan just has to try to be as aggressive as possible. I still like Silverheart here because with Domri Raid, it can randomly help you kill even an Angel of Glorious Rise, so it's one of the few answers he has to the Angel. But beyond that, you know, I don't think he wants to actually dilute his deck because maybe he doesn't want, maybe he'd prefer to have like a Garruk Relentless over a Huntmaster of Fells because it can kill, it can actually kill like a Fiend Hunter. And Huntmaster's not nearly aggressive enough to, you know, the way he's going to win is if he goes turn 2 Gyro Sage, turn 3 like Burning Tree Emissary, grow my guy, Flintiff board, grow my guy, attack for 6, and then like Silverheart, attack for 7. You know, then he at least has a chance. But again, he doesn't have the. This deck is very difficult for him to do a turn 4 kill with this deck. And that's kind of what you need against Scott. I mean, Scott is going to board into probably some Sanctifiers, maybe a healer. And the advantage that Scott has is in the top 8, he knows what's in Marcus's sideboard. So he knows I don't have to bring in my Abrupt Decays. You know, you're not going to have anything for me. So might just choose to bring in some Sanctifiers, maybe the healer. Or maybe he just doesn't even bother. He doesn't want to dilute his deck because he knows you're not going to be able to kill me on turn 4, and as long as I draw, you know, some combination of Faithless Looting, Grizzly Savage, Mulch, I'm going to have a pretty good shot of getting an Angel into play on turn 4.
You know, that feeling of comfort when you do have perfect information on what your opponent can sideboard in. You know, a lot of the time you're kind of playing the guessing game of, is it Rest in Peace, is it Deathrite Shaman, Ground Seal, Grafdigger's Cage, Purify the Grave? What way are my opponents going to try to attack me? Is it even Tormod Script, a card that every deck can play? And in this case, it's none of those things.
Yeah, so
feeling pretty good.
Scott's really got a pretty good road ahead of him if he's able to win this match, because he's going to know what's in his opponent's sideboard, you know, for the rest of the tournament. So he doesn't have to play that guessing game, you know. And I think there's one blue, red, white flash deck that has Purify the Grave, not Rest in Peace. So that's huge because that means he doesn't have to bring in his Abrupt Decays if he chooses not to. He could try to bring in, he might want to bring in Sigardas and Duresses and try to play a different plan of attack. So definitely I think an advantage for Scott because having that kind of information definitely favors a deck like Human Reanimator that sometimes has to make a guess.
Yeah. And you know, it's kind of nice for the Human Reanimator deck to be able to actually, you know, shore up that guessing with Abrupt Decay because it is a nice catch-all for everything outside of Purify the Grave. So, you know, that's one of the reasons that this deck actually does pretty well in the sideboarded games, but again, just that comfort level of knowing that A, you don't have to worry about anything, and B, your opponent's clock is just not very fast. If this was not a blitz, it would be a different thing altogether. He actually probably has to consider bringing in Brupticate just to be able to kill something. And make sure that he doesn't die on turn 4, so he can actually do something in his turn 4. But that just isn't the case here. And so for Scott, you're feeling in the driver's seat as game 1 was, for all intents and purposes, pretty easy.
Well, the thing is though, it's like Marcus isn't out of it yet. I mean, if Scott doesn't have the Faithless Looting, his deck can actually kind of struggle at times getting the combo. I mean, he really needs the Faithless Looting, especially if he draws the Angel of Glory's Rise. You know? So I still think he's probably the favorite, but I wouldn't count Marcus out just yet. Marcus's deck can still put enough pressure to kill Scott on turn 5. And if Scott doesn't have like the Grizzly Savages or the Mulches, then suddenly it doesn't really matter. Turn 4 isn't a possibility anymore, and Marcus can just win the game with his beatdown. So,
as we do see Marcus set off here with a couple of red-green lands and a Flinthoof Boar. Searing Spear is going to take care of one of those Brain Tree emissaries on the double block, so Flinthoof Boar is going to live. This is a 3/3. Searing Spear takes out one of the emissaries, and the other emissary cannot kill it. So, the double Brain Tree emissary is actually kind of annoying in the fact that it's in the way, and that has to be Marcus's turn of clearing that out of the way. But we're going to see a Mulchi reveal 2 Grizzly Salvages, a Sun Petal Grove, and a Faithless Looting. Actually, that land is a Cavern of Souls, not a Grizzly Salvage, so just 1 salvage. But Faithless Looting go to the graveyard is pretty good for Scott, as now he is going to have some more action here.
And he draws a white source, which is good too, because he had a Fiend Hunter in his hand. So looks like he's going to be able to cast a Cathedral Sanctifier, which, again, pretty important.
Yeah, just buy himself some more time.
Yep.
So Sanctifier is going to push Scott up to 23. It can chump block that Flinthoof Boar if necessary. You do see Searing Spear, the draw for Marcus this turn. Marcus is going to play a Rootbound Crag. You see Volcanic Strength, and Stomping Ground is in play.
And he can't even chump block, so
the race is on.
Yeah, and if he looks like his Searing Spear might have a Silver Heart, or maybe it might just be a Forest.
Yeah, but 2 forests in his hand.
He's got cards like Rampager and Silverheart that he can draw, which can, put Scott on 2-turn clock. But we know that Scott does in fact have the Fiend Hunter. So I think the Volcanic Strength out of Marcos's deck is basically just him saying, I just need to try to be really aggressive because I'm such a dog in this matchup.
You do see a Faithless Looting here for Scott to start the turn. We do know that he has a Cavern of Souls for his second white source, along with a Fiend Hunter in his hand. So wants to get his information on what he wants to discard before pulling the trigger on that Fiend Hunter on the Flinthoof Boar, which will obviously take care of that Volcanic Strength as well.
Yeah, and it looks like he drew a Huntmaster that fell as well, and we know that I think he has an Angel of Glory's Rise in his hand. So looks to be in relatively good shape, even though he's not going to have the turn 4 Angel.
Yeah. It's like he can just play, a normal game of Magic, just kind of straight up.
Yeah.
And then if he does, end up working himself into the combo, so be it. As we do see Woodland Cemetery and Angel of Glory's Rise bite the dust off the Faithless Looting. He's going to play a Cavern of Souls, naming human, and you are going to see a Fiend Hunter take care of the Flinthoof Boar. Volcanic Strength's going to bite the dust, and now we do know that Marcus's last cards in his hand are, again, that Searing Spear and 2 forests. So Searing Spear going to take care of the Fiend Hunter. The Boar is going to come back. And the attack with the Cathedral Sanctifier, I'm not particularly in love with those, because again, how much does that 1 point of damage matter, where the 3 on the other side actually probably does?
Yeah, especially if he plays a Silverheart or something, which he has. It's like you can't risk him having a Searing Spear and just getting blown out for 7 when you could have just chump blocked for a turn. But again, Scott's still in a pretty good shape. It looks like he drew it on Burial Rites as well. So I think he has a turn to flashback Faithless Looting if he chooses to. Don't think he needs to cast it, but decides to go for it anyway. Still really good shape.
Yeah, and this is just your value on Burial Rites here. You see a Fiend Hunter going to come back. You see 2 copies of Burning Tree Emissary going to come back as well.
And he actually has the Huntmaster in his hand too, so he can cast it off the Burning Tree Emissaries.
And there is your Huntmaster of the Fells, so he is going to gain 2 life and put a Wolf token into play. This is very reminiscent of what we saw in the last game. Again, a lot of people are under the impression that you have to set up the full combo kill to be able to, you know, cast in Barrier Rites and the Angel of Glorious Rites, but that's just not the case.
No, sometimes just a lot of creatures is good enough.
Yeah. Turn 4, you know, I've got a full board of creatures. You have an Arbor Elf, and, you know, you've got a bunch of lands in your hand. And now you've added a Strangleroot to the board, which is fairly irrelevant, as he does just pass the turn back.
Yeah, and you know, Scott could just choose to attack with the Angel and pass the turn, let Huntmaster flip, kill the Arbor Elf, and then attack with a 4/4 Trampler next turn, along with all your other creatures.
Yeah. You know, if he wants to, he can cast Faithless Looting, since he does have 2 of them in his graveyard, stock a little bit further. But I mean, the overarching point here is you can definitely see what this Human Reanimator deck is like when there is not any hate, or if someone's playing a more mid-rangey strategy. You know, you can assume that Marcus's deck is pretty good against a Naya Blitz type deck, maybe a Jund deck because the threats are so large and resilient. But this is one area where he's just really not. This isn't where he wants to be.
Yeah, I think Scott basically, this is his dream matchup, especially in the first round of the top 8. He knows his opponent has no hate, and his opponent's not fast enough. So it looks like he's just going to swing in and pass the turn, let Huntmaster flip, and then kill either Strangleroot Geist or Arbor Elf.
And you do see even the Cathedral Sanctifier can get in here. And Strangleroot Geist is going to get in front of, it looks like, the Wolf token. Undying is going to happen. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage is going to get through on Marcus.
Yeah, so that's going to drop Marcus down to 9. Then he takes 2 from the Huntmaster, dropping to 7. So threatening lethal next turn. Not sure if Marcus has a card that can draw him out of this.
Marcus draws
like
a Thundermaw Hellkite.
But,
and he puts it into play and does extend the hand. So Scott Seligman makes it look pretty easy with the Humanimator deck. Wins 2-0 in impressive fashion. If your Marcus is just a deck that you didn't really want to play against, I think it's pretty evident. You're looking at 75. He was crossing his fingers and hoping to dodge.
Yeah, you know, it's a reasonable plan. Got him in top 8, but can't avoid it forever.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I think I don't think there's much you can really do. I mean, maybe you can sort of add 4 Tormod Crypts to your sideboard, but then what do you want to cut? I mean, obviously, Volcanic Strength seems important to him. Thundermaw, Wolf Run, but you know, maybe Marcus will go back to the drawing board and